Hi, my name is Pamela and I'm a psychotherapist at My Therapy NYC. Today I want to talk to you about the basics of LGBTQ family building. So you might have some ideas about ways that building a family as an LGBTQ person might be really challenging or even impossible. However, the good news is there are several ways that LGBTQ individuals and couples are able to become parents. There absolutely are some additional steps that are needed, and there's many decisions to make along the way. However, one thing that's really amazing about LGBTQ folks seeking to become parents is that there is such a high level of intentionality in the process. Because there's so many steps to take, you really want it if you're going through this process. So I'm going to list a few of the ways that LGBTQ people can become parents. The first is adoption. You can adopt through the child welfare system in a public adoption, or you can adopt privately through a private adoption agency. And then there's many decisions to make in the process. For example, do you want an international adoption or a domestic adoption? Would you like an open adoption or a closed adoption? Currently, the research shows that the best outcomes do result when there is an open adoption, which means that birth parents or families of origin remain in relationship with the adoptive family and the child, and the adoption agency would facilitate that process and provide support on both ends. The next way of becoming a parent for an LGBTQ couple or person is through artificial insemination. So artificial insemination is a great option for people who have a uterus and have an egg but are lacking sperm. And the way that the process works is you have donor sperm, and that sperm is inserted into the person with the uterus who's going to carry the baby. And it can be intravaginal insemination, which is essentially referred to as the turkey baster method, or there's intrauterine insemination, IUI, and in that situation, sperm is inserted directly into the uterus, and this would be done by a medical professional. So one choice that you would need to make if you are using this route is whether you'd like a known donor or an anonymous donor. A known donor means it's a person in your life who you would ask if they would donate sperm to you. So perhaps this is a relative or a friend. And if you choose this route, there are some recommendations that a lot of people have around legal issues. For example, having a donor agreement to make sure that the donor would not in the future seek legal rights, parental rights of the child. While this can be a more complicated route, it's also an opportunity to have another loving adult in the child's life and an opportunity to have an alternative family structure that can be really meaningful for all involved. If you choose to have an anonymous donor, that means that you are purchasing sperm from a sperm bank. And this is a highly regulated industry. So what that means is that there's a lot of medical testing done and a lot of rigorous processes that the donors go through to make sure that they are healthy and stable, and they have already signed away their parental rights in the process. Another avenue for people who have a uterus is to do in vitro fertilization, or IVF. In IVF, it's a similar idea as artificial insemination. However, you make an embryo, so a fertilized egg, outside of the body and then insert it directly into the uterus of the person who's carrying. Now, in this option, you might be using your own egg. If it's a lesbian couple or a queer couple with two people who have eggs, then you can have, it's called reciprocal IVF. The other partner's egg can be used and then inserted into the other partner, or you could be using a donor egg. While this process has a higher likelihood of resulting in a full-term pregnancy, on fewer tries, it is much more costly and it is much more medically involved. And the last process I'd like to mention is surrogacy. And this is a great option for gay men or for a single person who is interested in becoming a parent. So simply put, surrogacy is someone carrying the baby for intended parents. And there are two kinds of surrogacy. There is gestational surrogacy, which means that the person carrying the baby is using the egg of another person. And then traditional surrogacy, where the person carrying the baby is using their own egg. This is much more controversial. And in fact, surrogacy is not legal in every state. However, there's many organizations and agencies that will support you through this process. So those are the kinds of family building for LGBTQ people that I wanted to list. That is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much information out there and there's a lot of details. So while this process can appear incredibly daunting and can bring up a lot of feelings on many fronts, and can really bring up a lot for people in your life, and people might have lots of questions that might feel exciting and supportive or might feel invasive and insulting. Truly, there are many resources. There's a lot of information. Seek the stories of other people who've been through this process. There's lots of people doing great work and have a lot of things that they can offer to support you in your journey towards parenthood. For more information, please check out our website at mytherapynyc.com. Thank you so much.